think a contract around 7 clauses. So there's offer, acceptance, and then when you accept, you have to sign. So I don't understand why the two of you are here seated, you're seeking for an elective post, and then you personally, you do not even understand what the contracts entail. So I think maybe, sorry to say, but I need answers.
Well, thank you, Boniface Mbani, of course, a legend of the game in the country. But I believe what Boniface is talking about is player welfare. This is an area that we also need to get into now that contracts are also involved, Wahome. So let's begin with Barry, player welfare. We'll get to CLEOPHAS and Ochola, but let's begin with you, Barry, now that you have been you have been running football for last 5 years in the country. Player welfare and the way contracts are designed in the country. What are you going to change?
I think, first of all, I would want to request that we do some fact-checking on what candidates are saying.
Yes.
Because one, extreme sports didn't give birth to Chapadimba or to Sakata.
Yes.
So let's check facts. Two, very quickly, Wahome. I think the issue of sponsorship, yes, SportPesa sponsored extreme sports, but that sponsorship was also terminated just under 2 years for reasons best known to people here. Now, on to my second, or on to the issue of player welfare.
Yes.
Now, I have been CEO of Fkf. I keep on shouting about that. But all these gentlemen here have been in football longer than me. I'm actually the youngest. So the issue didn't start when I became CEO. The issue has been there. And Robinson, what has been the issue? The issue has been this, that we have not built the capacity of our people, that we are taught how to play football from a very young age, but then we are not given transition into administration. Look at the presidential candidates here, go to their websites, check how they look, go to the websites of clubs. Look at clubs, even big clubs like Gor Mahia. Why are they being sanctioned by FIFA for wrongful termination of player contracts or maybe coaches? What we intend to do, and when we say we want to develop football beyond the pitch, is that we want to equip football administrators at both levels, both at the club level and at the grassroots level, with the necessary skills to ensure that football is sustainable, but also they understand the commercialization of football assets. And someone has talked about the KPL deal. Now, in life, there's something you call fiduciary relationship, and that's when I am more knowledgeable than you. If we go into a contract where I am more knowledgeable than you have a problem. The KPL deal, SuperSport were given rights that they could not even exploit. And this was because the people who were in that office then didn't understand what to do. So we are very committed in capacity building, in exchange programs that will bring
Kata or copy-paste the rules and regulations of extreme sports, which we crafted from scratch. And that's what I meant when I said that we gave birth to what became Sakata and to what became Chapadimba. Actually, the rules and regulations in 2005 or 2006, after Super 8 had been started, is what was copy-pasted by the same people who were at extreme sports who went and did Sakata. So that is a fact, it's on record. We cannot allow this platform to be used for falsehoods. On the issue of SportPesa and the termination of the sponsorship, let Barry Otieno here, who is really privileged, considering all the ills the Federation has done to share this platform with us, show us where the termination of the contract is. The termination of the contract by SportPesa or by Extreme Sports was also as a result by the intimidation, coercion, threats by the Federation to stifle anything meaningful, by anything that was done meaningful. And it is important for us to set the record straight that hundreds of thousands of young people suffered out of the intimidation that was caused by the Federation in trying to kill grassroots football. And that is a fact. So when you talk about sponsors running away from grassroots football, it is because of the coercion, intimidation, blackmail that came from FKF. And those are the things that we are going to finish come 7th of December this year.
Okay. Okay. Yes, of course, as we continue with this conversation. Yes, as we continue with this conversation.
Tafadhali tumie lugha ambayo haitaleta vurugu.
Yes.
Na tuweke ndio. Sisi wote ni washindani, sio maadui. Shindani hapa.
Also remember, as we continue with this conversation, there were some rules for the audience, relating, cheering, uploading or showing support, support in any other similar manner. We are here to listen to the candidates. Yes, as much as you want to cheer them on, let's have this conversation. Then after we're done, you can cheer your candidate. That's after this whole conversation is over. Wahome, we continue with the
I think I have a right of reply because I've been adversely mentioned.
Barry, can we bank that one for you? You keep your right of reply. Can we bank that for you so that we can deal with this issue?
The right of reply is only on the person who has been accused. There's no right of reply on my
No, wait. You put something. It was there. So, audience, please. Okay.
So, audience, please. I think he said that we led to the termination of SportPesa, and it's not true. Are there documents to support that claim?
So, that is you, Barry. I have asked that we bank your right of reply. We are giving that to you. Can we bank that?
That's okay. That's okay, Wahome.
All right. Thank you. Tukuja kwako Bwana Shimanyula, na hapa ni maneno haswa kujali masilahi ya wachezaji, kandarasi ambazo unapatia mchezaji wakati anakuja kujiunga na klabu chako, wakati ambapo pengine anasafiri, kwa sababu Kakamega Homeboyz wamecheza nje ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo haya ni mambo ambayo umeshajua. Tuelezee haswa hizi kandarasi mnaziangalia kwa uzuri, na pia ukipata kandarasi ambayo itakuletea pesa unaiangalia kwa makini.
Asante sana kwa swali ya huyo alikuwa mchezaji wa zamani. Nafikiria hakuelewa kwa sababu kulikuwa na swali kwamba contract zile za sponsors ndio tunasema tujaona. Sasa yeye amesema ile wachezaji. Nitamjibu kwa ile wachezaji. Hakuna kandarasi yote utafanya bila kuelewana na huyo mchezaji. Mnakaa chini, mnakubaliana mshahara, mnakubaliana muda. So ukimfanyia makosa atakimbia kwa Barry, kuhakikisha ameambia Barry kwamba hapa nimekosewa, sijalipwa hii. So Boniface, nafikiria swali lako uliuliza ilikuwa kwa sababu mimi na huyu tumekuwa tunasema ile contract ya sponsor hatujai kuona. Yeye akasema ametoa. So nafikiria pale kidogo labda tuelezee, alikuwa anataka tumueleze vipi aelewe.
Wait, Ambani, please, there is order.
Yeah. Yes. Let him just
Boniface, please, there is order.
Aya, tukiendelea hivyo, pia kuna mwanadada ameuliza juu ya match fixing. Mimi ndio nilikuwa whistleblower wa hiyo mambo ya match fixing, na nikatega wale wote waliokuwa wakifanya hii, ilikuwa coach na wachezaji kadhaa, na walibaniwa kutoka kule FIFA. Barry yako hapa kutestify kwamba tulipeana evidence zote kwa federation, na ndio wakatusaidia wale watu wakabaniwa. Mimi najua yule mwanadada labda alitumwa na mtu kuuliza swali kama hiyo. I'm not a match fixer. Na tena do this. Kwa hawa tumekaa hapa, hata nyinyi wenyewe mnajua gambler ni nani. Kuna gambler kati yetu ule ambaye mnajua. Haya, sikiza boss, ni vizuri tusikize kwa sababu usiwe biased. Yes. Kwa sababu nikwambia hivyo, kuna gambler mmoja hapa, international gambler. Sasa ukikuja kutuambia match fixing, I cannot fix a match.
Okay, thank you very much. And yes, swali moja, and this is because I'll also be coming to that because you've brought it out.
Yes.
Swali kuhusu match fixing.
Yeah.
Ni vipi utafanya? Kwa sababu Kenya hatuna sheria.
Kwangu mimi kama nikichaguliwa na najua mtanichagua, nikishachukua hiki kiti nitahakikisha nimeweka laini mzuri sana ya kuhakikisha wakora wote ambao watu wengine wako hapa, kuhakikisha tumewashika na tuhakikishe katika sheria ya Kenya. Nilihangaika sana wakati nilipata wale watu na match fix. Tuhakikishe meko katika bunge ya Kenya tuweke match fixers wawe fungwe maisha, kwa sababu hiyo ndio mchezo na haribu games. Na pale hapo hata wale referees wa Kenya wengi wana fix game, wachezaji wana fix pamoja na nini, na wale team managers wana fix game. So mimi nitahakikisha nimetengeneza na ikuwe kama sheria, sababu wakati mimi nilipata wale match fixers ilikuwa ni ngumu hata kwa polisi kupiga report. Polisi walikosa kunisaidia. So nitahakikisha nimetengeneza mechanism ambayo itakuwa mzuri ya kukamata hii
match fixers. Yes. Match fixers. Sawa. Okay, so let's come to you, Ochola, and it's also been asked.
I think
clarity of contracts, player welfare, and I want you to conjoin this because you can't. If you listen to the stories behind match fixing, Some claim it's because of this or that, but that is a different case.
Yeah.
First, clarity of contracts.
Okay. Ambani's question was an oxymoron. They call it oxymoron in English because anauliza swali moja vile nani amesema about players, alafu anauliza about contracts. I don't know exactly what he was asking, but there are two kinds of contracts for players. Player contracts in Gor Mahia are very open. Everybody reads them. There's a copy that is sent to the federation. There's a copy that we have in the club, and the player also has a club. The club also has a contract. They are very straightforward. They are very good contracts, and our players, I think, are paid very well according to any level of Kenyan football. So what he's asking about me not knowing, I'm the custodian of all those contracts. So I want him to know that there's nothing that I do not know about contracts in Gor Mahia. Now, coming to contracts about sponsorship, okay? Most of the time, we are just given documents to sign by the federation. Apart from the one we have with SportPesa, which is it's between us and them. It was put on the table. We have two great lawyers. I'm the secretary of Gor Mahia Football Club, so I am the custodian of that contract. We know what is in there, and he should not think that it's public knowledge. That is it's a confidential document. Now, so every time he points at Gor Mahia, he needs to also know that he needs to speak about one question or the other. About match fixing, the lady there stood up and said, accusing Homeboys of match fixing. Homeboys has never been banned or fined or anything about match fixing, okay? So when she stands there and says for so many years there's been match fixing, I think the best person to answer is, of course, Barry OTIENO over here to tell us whether it's true or false. Because we know that Homeboys is playing in the league and it has never been fined for match fixing. But we know that referees are not paid on time. We know that referees are treated very poorly. We know that, like for the ladies, we always talk about men's team. We know that the ladies football club, FIFA Forward, has given development money over the years from 2016 to 2022, over 1.3 billion shillings.
For a true, I think it's hard for anybody to deny that there's problems there. I think it comes down to the issue of leadership. I'll fight corruption in all its forms, whether it is related to match fixing, whether it's related to finding anybody who's stealing federation money. I'll fight corruption in all of its forms and make sure that if I find it, I will eliminate it, because it's a big problem in our football. Secondly, when we talk about clubs, I think Ambani raised an issue of clubs. I've watched carefully how our clubs operate, and clearly for me, from where I am, we need to establish standards for our clubs in order for us to build the kind of football we want that's going to attract sponsorship. Part of that is for us to be able to create standards for our clubs so that the clubs can meet those standards and be able to do that. But more importantly, there's when we talk about building money, bringing money into our football, we can approach it on one level. There's a holistic way of looking at it that involves leadership, that involves the sponsors will bring money to us. It's that simple.
All right. Thank you. Barry, over to you. Integrity of club, integrity around contracts, integrity around the game, match manipulation as it is officially known.
I think match fixing is a global issue. That's the first line of it. Kenya has not been spared on the issue of match fixing, and it's sad because it's at two levels. So there is the level where gamers bet on odds and win money, and then there is another level during my period at FKF where I realized that club officials, without personalizing, and this is just an example, Moranga Seal is number one, and the chairman of Moranga Seal bribes the referee so that Gor Mahia doesn't win. And that's an example. I'm not saying it's an example.
We are maintaining that that's an example.
That's an example that I'm giving.
That's a bad example.
On to my point.
Use A or B in this case.
On to my point.
You've got two officials of this club.
One is that players, coaches, and club officials need to be sensitized about match fixing and how match fixing affects the game. That has been done. Is there room for improvement? Of course there is, and we intend to continue with this. During my period as FKF CEO, is that in partnership with FIFA, we came up with a system of detecting, preventing, and then now people can also report how match fixing affects. And Chairman SHIMANYULA would attest that we've worked with him closely to ensure that we mitigate. Again, I say it's not something, it's very amorphous, so you can't say
Conviction numbers, if I may ask?
I left FKF, I don't know the numbers. Maybe Korir, you can call him, he can give you the numbers. I'm not familiar with the numbers at this time.
Yeah, but we would know of
During his time.
During your time.
or active investigations that
5 years.
you, because you sent out
I know,
communication.
I know that when I left, around 39 individuals had been provisionally suspended. The biggest challenge with match fixing in Kenya is that there are no national laws that allows for these individuals to be prosecuted. So sometimes you take them to court and they can only be charged with bribery.
Aha.
Yeah.
Thank you. ALILA.
Yeah, as I said before, all these things that we are bickering about comes to governance, and this all components.
It's governance.
Yes. So if I'm elected, FIFA is an association. FIFA has laid down all the issues that need to be sorted out in football. Secondly, the Association of Football Kenya Federation is also part of FIFA association. That's why as FKF is a regulator, all this that we are saying is that FKF should not be involving in side issues. It should be a regulator in that these leagues that we have, FKF has got what we call their properties. That is the first tier league, that is also 18 clubs. Those are the properties that they have. NSL, they have women football, the leagues, Division A and B. All these issues need to be aligned so that we can have value in our leagues. In the governance issues that I keep on, we are all bickering, match fixing, club licensing, integrity in football, all these are lying in governance. And that's what, if I'm elected, I'm going to fix. There's no rocket science in running football. And football administration is not about running tournaments or being a player. You know, you must have the skills to be an administrator so that you can inculcate all these rules that FIFA has put in place so that the country should be able to be playing in World Cup. The under-17, not the girls only, but you must have a conveyor belt, as I say, to fix football back to the grassroots in the sub-branch levels. All this can only be fixed when there's proper governance. All these people are saying, oh, this, that, all again aligned to governance of football in this country. That's what I want to change. And yes, as I said, it's no rocket science. Yeah.
Yes, not rocket science. Now, Hussein, a question was put across, and the question is, do you believe in the integrity of the electoral board?
I think first on the issue of match fixing, it goes back to the basics that if we have no integrity within the federation, then there's no way you can expect them to do anything about match fixing. I think it is rampant. It's in the public domain what has happened in the past, and it all goes back to issues of integrity. And that integrity is what is lacking. We need to take care of referees' welfare. We need to make sure that they are remunerated well. We need to make sure that there's enough capacity building at all levels so that we avoid match fixing in the future. We need to make sure that all the clubs and owners of clubs are sensitized. And we need to make sure, again, and I agree here with Tom when he says it's issues of governance. You cannot talk of integrity when in 2021 you are banned for 6 months by CAF for tearing up PCRs for COVID. And this is on record. You know, this is on record.
Yes.
In 2020, Barry here, again, went and wrote a letter to CAF, which got our women out of AUCON. So when you talk of integrity, you have to be able to stand up on your 2 feet and say, I have no allegations against me. I'm not on record having stolen anything. So we have to be very, very adamant that integrity is the bedrock of us being able to find sustainable solutions moving forward. And that integrity is what we lack. On the issue of independence of electoral board, which is the question that was asked earlier, is from the beginning we were clear. And we said, number one, the FKF electoral board needs to be out of FKF offices. And it's human nature in that process. The other thing we talked about the electoral board, remember at the SGM, And again, I was on record. At the area, I had vowed I will never attend, and I attended. On that, at that SGM, we passed the electoral board, and we told them that we have confidence in you, and we will trust you to do the right thing, and we will give you full cooperation, and we will give you our support. And that was at the beginning. Along the way, we've raised serious red flags about the independence of the board. 1, on address. 2, on the voter register. 3, on the list of delegates, which, again, was supplied by Barry before he left FKF. Where is the independence in that? Let me finish. The 4th thing, we are telling them to keep switching names every now and then. This week alone, they have switched the name of candidates several times, which is unacceptable. How do we have 5 days to the general election, to the election on Saturday? No civic education, no meeting with the candidates so far. They have not met with us. They have not outlined what will happen on Saturday. We have no idea who the returning officers are. So what I'm trying to say about the electoral board is this. We told you we trust you, and we give you the mandate to run this election. Let it be free, let it be fair, let it be above board, you have to be accountable, it has to be verifiable. That's all we ask of the board.
I think I want to make a rejoinder.
I think I have a right to reply.
Yes.
And the first thing is, I don't know who's keeping the time. Hussein's 2 minutes seem to be 5. Huh?
No, I do have an issue with time because you seem to be giving a lot of time to certain individuals.
So, but let me go
in the interest of fairness, can you give equal time to everybody?
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I go?
We'll appreciate
Barry, go fast.
I have a right
a minute.
of rebuttal, yeah?
Yes, a minute to reply, especially about the letters to CAF.
So there have been a number of accusations, and the highest calling for man is the calling of God. And I'm surprised when a Muslim who goes around wearing betting clothes, clearly advertising betting, talks about issues of integrity. That's not integrity.
No.
Now, let me go on to my second point. Let me go on to my second point.
We will not. I mean,
it's true. He has photos all over social media wearing betting, and he's Muslim.
Just a minute, Barry. Serious, Barry. I think as a country.
What is integrity?
Wait. As a country, the laws of this land do allow for non-discrimination across. I'm not discriminating culture or anything. So
I apologize. Let me go to my point.
Okay, the point specifically is the letter to CAF he mentioned.
I have been accused of not being a person of high standing in terms of integrity by someone who I also believe shoots on this side and stays on this side. If you say you are a person of integrity, I mean, you can do a background check on me and do a background check on him. Now, on to the letter, if you allow me to answer that.
2 minutes.
I mean, I gave you a minute to answer. I gave you a minute to answer that. You've taken half the time. Stick to the letter, please.
Let me speak to the letter. Thank you, Home. So, in 2021, CAF introduced a COVID protocol mechanism. And I don't want to speak into it. There were national team players that were there. I never told any COVID results. The issue that we were playing away in Comoros has got 1 hospital and 1 bank. By regulation, if a player was found to be positive on COVID, you needed to, as a right, you were supposed to be given an alternative hospital to test these players. That's what I asked for, and the officials were not happy. I never told any people.
Thank you. Yes, Alila, briefly, because we also have another set of people that want to also ask questions.
I wanted to bring in a second on issues of the electoral board.
Sure.
I think when the FK convened the SGM, the electoral board is supposed to be presented at the same time when the SGM is going on, and they need to be also appeals committee. That is present. This is according to FIFA statute. I think my friend HUSSEIN, I think, represented Muranga Seal, and he was part of that convention. I mean, he was part of the SGM. And I don't want to go to the sub judice rule on issue because we have gone to court over this matter of the electoral board because procedures were not followed. The statute of FIFA states that an electoral board members, and I think Barry here can verify, must be members of FKF. You cannot get this FIFA statute, and it's all well elaborated in FKF constitution. So mistakes were done at that board, and we have an issue that I'm running under protest because we have case going on at SDT. So the rules were not followed. That's why the eligibility of the board is in question. So that is something that we must put forward as we go on.
Sammy KEMPES, do you have faith in the FKF electoral board?
I have some issues with that. There's a lot of issues that I want to address. The first one is in regards to some of the members that were barred from participating in this process. They're not in the list. And the reason is because even though they met the qualifications of being, that were required by the Constitution, they were barred because they were members of CFA. I think for the electoral board to ask, the reason they were members of CFA because they were following, they registered according to the Sports Act. So for me, for the electoral board, really following what is to me, they're opening themselves as to legal issues in the future. Secondly, my other concern is the issue of security and that we have a secret balloting, because what happens typically is during elections, people come in with their phones and then they're promised money and then they take photos of their ballot and then they're given the balance of the money. My question to them is, you can laugh, but it's true. My question is are they going to allow secret balloting so that those kinds of things don't happen? So those are my two questions. I'm not saying secret balloting always happens. It always happens, but sometimes it is an issue. So those are the two things, questions I have for them. But just one more thing.
Yes.
I'm a candidate who's been in the business of running soccer successfully. I've touched every area of football. I've built physical infrastructure. I've built incredible fields. I've been involved in building tournaments, leagues, all that stuff. So I've been involved in building successful business. I understand what it means to build successful businesses, and I am capable of doing the same here. I have the vision for this country, and I'm capable of replicating what I've done for this country.
Yes, thank you, KEMPES. Ochola, do you also have issues with the FKF electoral board?
Oh yes, definitely. I think so long as they're sitting at Kandanda House and managing all their business from there, there is a big problem. They need to be independent and they need to move out of that place. Secondly, the complaints committee, of course, was not constituted at the SGM, and so going to the same board to cry about members being put in and out is really not the way to go. So there's an anomaly in that. Another thing I want to say is that we have a presidential candidate here, was the Secretary General. If you look at the list of all those football clubs and all those registered members who are going to vote, who are going to be voters, he prepared this list of he was the Secretary General, so he knows all the people he had put in there. So you, after putting all the list of players, football clubs, and chairmen, and then you resign and come and say that now you want to be
just
a presidential candidate. Let me tell you one thing. It's still about the board. It's still about the board. So you prepare the list, then you resign, come and sit here and say I want to be the presidential candidate, and yet you already know all the people you had shortlisted. The board cannot allow such people to be candidates. The board, if we are following the rules and regulations as put by the Federation and FIFA statutes, the candidates also here need to, there are issues even with the candidates as we sit over here. Are they really part of, did they fit the criteria? That is the $1 million question.
So
okay?
The question I want to ask is, there are elected officials from the regions who are in office as we speak, because there's no vacuum. Let's move away from that.
That is not in the rules and regulations. It is not there.
And
to sit here as a member, you must be brought by what? By a club.
By a club.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you resign, and then what club will sponsor you to come to sit here? What I'm saying is this: how are you the Secretary General of a federation? You prepare the list of all the delegates, and then you resign and come and sit here, and you want to be the president, and the board clears you. Is that fair?
Cleo, una imani na bodi ya uchaguzi?
Asante sana. Kwangu nitasema kwamba board ya uchaguzi kwanza ndawapatia kongole kwa kunikilia mimi kuhakikisha niko katika list. Because walifanya vizuri sana kuhakikisha wamenikilia. But shida yangu kubwa kabisa ni vile ndugu yangu ameongea.